Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
Greetings. Welcome to the bonus show. Dave is here. His hair is in relatively good shape today. Over the break, we, at separate times went back to the town we're from, and I saw Dave out downtown that night, and his hair was completely out of control. I said, "What the hell happened to your head?" He said, "I forgot my product."
Yeah.
It's incredible. I don't know how expensive that product is, Dave, but I think it's worth every penny.
It's called, what is it called? It's called Men's Crew Fiber, and it's like a hair wax. And it's stunning because I use very little of it.
Yeah.
And so that makes me think, oh, it can't make that much of a difference. I'm putting this tiny amount of product in my hair when I get out of the shower. How could it really make such a big difference?
Yeah.
I forgot it when I went back to Western Massachusetts for Thanksgiving. And my hair was completely puffed up like a helmet. It looked like I was wearing a helmet the entire trip.
It's incredible. It's interesting that you use an actual hair product. I assumed you would have used some type of, really strong pesticide for some type of invasive shrub or something like that.
I've read that castor oil can be really good for the hair, and that it really helps hold it in place. Of course, you'll look like a 2-year-old from the 1930s with that sort of shine on the hair. But what can I do? The product works well. I think it's about $11 for a tub. And I think the tub lasts me probably 6 months or more. So it's really, my hair maintenance budget is under $30 per year.
Yeah, that's great. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Stick with that product. Hopefully they stay in business.
I'm hoping.
It's probably quite a hassle to have to switch your product. You have to find another one that works. And
it could be years of research, yeah.
You know exactly how much to use right now, and then that would change. Okay.
Now, the thing is, as my hair gets longer, I know that I have to sort of put a little more in my hair, and it's this whole process. You should see what goes on in my house. It's crazy.
Dave, I don't think anyone should see what goes on in your house. I think, people's heads may explode.
Sure.
Anyway, there is a South Dakota town for sale.
Yeah.
It's a tiny little ghost town. It's just over, 6 acres of land.
Okay.
And I have a friend who's listening. I wonder if she has ever heard of this place. It's called Swett, Swett, named after the man who founded it. Right now, it's on sale for $250,000. It includes a tavern, a store, a 4-bedroom home, and the home may be haunted. Dave.
Yeah, but what isn't these days?
Yeah, I don't take that with a grain of salt.
Right. If you believe in hauntings, this place is definitely haunted. If you don't, then don't even worry about it.
Yeah, that's fair. About 100 miles southwest of Rapid City. And that's, pretty much it. Dave, there's not much to discuss. But I've talked before about there was like a Spanish town for sale.
There's a number where my stepmom is from in northwestern Spain. There are some more rural areas, and a lot of those little towns are basically abandoned and they're available for sale, but you're not really buying the town. You're just buying all of the land within the town. It's basically as if you were to buy all of the properties in a town. I don't even know that I'm explaining it clearly, but you can't make it your own country, right? You're just owning all of the real estate and property within a particular town.
Right. Yeah. Now, nobody lives here in this one. At its peak, it had a population of about 40. So I think it was never really sustainable. But those towns in Spain, people are leaving because they have no way to live. They have to move to the city to find work, to find whatever. Living off the land, I think, is it's not easy.
No, certainly not.
So, but are those rural areas really nice over there? Are they desirable?
I don't want to say...
Is it like dry, mountainous, desert, rocky areas?
No, northwestern Spain is very, very rainy, and it's a totally different thing. Like if you've been to Barcelona or Madrid, northwestern Spain is very different. It's one of the less wealthy parts of Spain. I think that the cuisine there is much better than in a lot of the touristy parts of Spain where it's all about pork. In northwestern Spain, they've got that cold water there. Fantastic seafood. I think it's fantastic, but no, it is not traditionally considered one of the more desirable areas, generally speaking, although I think it's great.
All right. I'd probably enjoy it.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it's probably pretty cheap right now, huh?
Somewhat. Yeah.
The president of Mauritania was at a soccer match,
Right.
football, soccer.
They call it football.
Yes. And in the 63rd minute, he was very bored with this 1-1 matchup. The game was tied, and I guess there just wasn't enough action for him. So he stopped it and ordered a shootout. Everyone loves a good shootout.
Of course.
But you don't like when a game actually ends in a shootout, right?
No. I think I don't like what. Okay. The idea that you could play.
You think it's a shame that the game has to be resolved that way?
Exactly.
Okay. And I tend to agree, but there comes a point. I mean, how many miles are these players running during a match? I mean,
I think around 7.
You could have an overtime. You could have double overtime. You could have it go until there's a score. But eventually, I mean, you're just doing a lot of harm to the players. And
Absolutely. I get that.
you got to have I mean, in the NFL, American football, during the regular season, after the first overtime, if it's still tied, the game actually ends in a tie.
And it's quite rare, isn't it?
Extremely rare. There was this great moment where in an Eagles game, while Donovan McNabb was still the quarterback, the game ended in a tie. But McNabb was confused during the game because he didn't realize that a game even could end in a tie.
Right.
Now, this was a quarterback that had been to a Super Bowl. I mean, you would assume he would know the rules. But he was unaware that that could even happen, and so he was playing like it couldn't.
Right.
But yes, but in the playoffs, I believe the games will go forever.
Yeah, I mean, a playoff game can't end in a tie, obviously.
No, you can't have that. So I was thinking about this, and I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, he's called the president. He's more like a dictator, and I don't know much about Mauritania or the president. I just looked up. There's almost no information about this guy online on the wiki. But this president, Maouya Ould Sid Ahmed Taya, is the guy's name. And he has, I don't know, it's kind of a weird series of events leading up to his presidency.
Right.
So he kind of was part of the military that took place in that basically had 2 coups happen.
Right.
But he was, after the second coup, he was kind of placed in as an interim in charge of the country. And then in the next election, there was an election, I guess. Guess who won, Dave?
I'm guessing him.
He won. It's incredible. What are the chances? And so, I mean, that's basically it.
Yeah, but he also, if I understand correctly, didn't he, he's been involved in a number, and this is just going, I actually recently read something about this guy, I don't know why, totally unrelated to the story. My understanding was maybe by force, right? The term respect is a vague term, but my understanding is he's somewhat well respected within the African Union as far as like a leader of an African nation. Although I don't know, that respect may be more the result of leading 2 coups. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, kind of like the way the people of North Korea respect Kim Jong-un. Okay,
Yes.
Maybe not. I mean, we don't really hear...
Sort of exaggerated analogy, but yeah.
We don't really hear much about Mauritania.
No.
And so maybe he's not that bad.
But that's probably our fault.
I mean, it could be. Not us or the media as a whole.
Sure.
There's an interesting find here in Jerusalem. A seal from a biblical king. And I guess it was discovered it was originally found in 2009. Archaeologists have only recently discovered what the inscription on it meant. And so when I say seal, I mean a little something you will actually place like your seal on, like a wax stamp maybe,
Right.
or something along those lines. And it's about half an inch wide. And it was found by the team from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem
Right.
at the site of an ancient dump beside the wall that surrounds the old city. And I guess it was originally thrown out back then, whatever, it was just in this dump. And it is imprinted with the symbol of a winged sun and an inscription in ancient Hebrew saying, belonging to Hezekiah, son of Ahaz, king of Judah. And so Hezekiah ruled from 727 to 698 BC. I don't really know anything about this character. Oh, I say character because a biblical character,
Sure.
but an actual person, described favorably in the Bible, as well as in the Chronicles, of the Assyrian kings who ruled during his time. He was an Assyrian vassal. He successfully maintained the independent standing of the Judean kingdom and its capital, Jerusalem, which he enhanced economically, religiously, and diplomatically. He trusted in the Lord God of Israel, so that after him was none like him among all the kings of Judah, nor any were before him.
Right.
That's a verse from the second book of Kings in the Bible, David.
Well, obviously, I'm very familiar with that verse, and no, I'm really not. But there's so much old and interesting stuff there. And as I mentioned, over the summer, I went to Israel where my brother was studying, finishing his master's degree. And although I spent most of my time in Tel Aviv, which is very secular and non-religious and much more modern, the 2 days I spent in Jerusalem, I mean, it's one of the most fascinating places I've ever been to. The old city of Jerusalem, you've got, the Armenian, Christian, Jewish, and Muslim quarters. We went onto the Temple Mount. We saw in a lot of different places, unfortunately, from 1949 until 1967, when there was not Israeli control of the old city, a lot of the really old stuff in the Jewish quarter was just completely destroyed. And so a lot of the stuff there has been sort of rebuilt in the style, and you really now have to look a little harder to see the stuff that's actually old, but there's plenty of it still there. And it's just so fascinating. And as far as the seal goes, I would love to have a seal, right? We should have a seal on the show, and we could actually turn it into a stamp, like an ink stamp. I think it would be fantastic. Shouldn't we have a seal?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can get those. Easy. I mean, Dave, when you go to a bar and they stamp your hand, so many bars have their own stamps.
Right.
I mean, it's
but
like
it would need to be designed first. We can easily send the design and get it printed as an ink stamp, but I have no design skills. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, well,
it'd be cool if it was like very old looking, but it was about the David Pakman Show, which is a 2015 online news show. But if it looked like an old seal, that would be cool.
Yeah, but what would it say? Would it just say,
I have no idea,
the David Pakman Show, or would it say, official document of whatever?
It could have like a sort of stylized, rounder version of the logo, and then also it could say like established 2005 or something like that. I don't know. I think something cool could be designed.
Yeah. Okay. So we have designers out there listening right now.
I'm sure we do.
I'm sure they could come up with some good ideas. But you wouldn't want it to say like David Pakman, son of so and so, son of Marcel,
no.
host of the David Pakman Show, and then with like a logo. That'd be too old school.
I think that'd be a little much.
Okay.
That'd be crazy, Louis. I mean, my idea is reasonable, but you're going way too far.
We don't have to do that. But just a thought. Anyway, that's pretty cool. I think I like old findings like that, and I think some of the appeal of the Bible is that it is like just it's history mixed with fiction, right?
Yes, to some degree. Yeah.
I mean,
I had a very long conversation about this with my brother and a bunch of his classmates, because as they were sort of giving us the tour, they would intermix stories about different things in Jerusalem, some of which are historical and some of which are fiction. And I would sort of say, well, but hold on a second. In that, you said, like, how much of that is evidence-based? And, it's very complicated, because you have this area that for so many religions is, for the religions from the point of view of their religious beliefs, and because there were many religions that were also the primary historians in the region, you have this mix of history and religion all in one place. And of course, it just makes it more complex to figure out what really happened.
Yeah. And so that is interesting stuff. Real characters, fake characters, real stories, fake stories, people walking on water and separating seas. Dave, it's incredible.
Right.
Truly unbelievable.
Absolutely. Literally.
The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.